Hello everyone and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we're taking a look at Energon Igniter's Nitro series Optimus Prime, the third and final entry in the first wave of the Nitro series from the new Transformers Bumblebee line. So you can see here it's got this open packaging that we saw previously with Bumblebee and Barricade. It's very similar to the Ultra Class packaging for Cyberverse, almost to the point that I feel like stores are mixing them up. I went to a Walmart where they were all just tossed in together because they basically are the same price point. Packaging looks very similar. Kind of even look the same as far as scale and transformation difficulty, things like that. But here is Optimus Prime. He does come with the Energon Igniter core, as you can see over here. On the side, it does say Nitro series. Not too much going on the bottom. On back shows robot mode, truck mode. Pop the core in. That shows how it works. Transformation on the back. Pretty simple. So let's go ahead. We'll get Optimus out of the packaging here and we'll take a closer look. Here is Optimus out of the packaging. Here is the Energon Igniter core that he comes with. These things are pretty much all the same at this point. Here's the one from Bumblebee. Looks exactly the same, except the silver detailing up here is obviously a little different. He has quite a bit more of it. But the channel along the bottom is the same. Both have the peg in the front, peg hole in the back. The wheel down here is the same. This works the same. So, pretty much par for the course for these, but I'm going to go ahead and put this off to the side for now so we can focus on Optimus. I think he looks pretty good. I feel like the head is a little small. It's not a huge problem, but for as big as his torso is, and I know they kind of want you to focus on just this part of his torso here, but the head just seems like it could be a little bigger. Just seems a little too tiny for me. But nice paint. I think the head sculpt works well. The eyes are painted blue. A lot of nice silver painting there. And really the detail everywhere. You have a nice Autobot symbol painted here, black for the windows. All this silver here on the chest. All this silver here on the forearms is all painted. I think it looks pretty good. Down here, these are all solid pieces of plastic, so no paint down here. But still, the mix of color looks nice. The red and the blue and the silver all work really well, with a little bit of black for accent color. He's got this giant panel here on his back, which it's not a huge problem. But unfortunately, some of his articulation is hindered because of the way he transforms, so we'll get into that now. The head can go from side to side, no up and down. Now, the shoulders and forearms and elbows all actually have a decent amount of posability. This gets stuck about here. I guess you can push a little bit past, but because of the shoulder piece on there. But you can spin it around. He has kind of two elbow joints. There's the normal elbow joint there, and then there's kind of a secondary one where the forearm is, and that's because of the transformation. He needs two joints. But it gives you lots of possibilities for posability, so I think that's pretty cool. Count them, two elbow joints. Nothing in the wrist. He does have a spin in the waist, but again, this is where I feel like it really gets hindered by this back flap here, and also the way he has these kind of boxy sides. Now you'll see how they come into play later, but that really kind of hinders his waist twist there, but he does have one. He also is like the first one in this whole line of the $20 size class, the Nitro series, that can actually kick forward. And again, that's because of the transformation, but still, it's nice. You can also get a little bit out to the side, but again, because of this big kind of flap here, it gets stuck and it stops, so it hinders there. Nothing in the knees, and not really anything in the ankles. These can move, but it's really because of the transformation, so I really wish he kind of had a tilt. I understand why he doesn't, but I kind of wish he did. But yeah, overall, a decent amount of articulation. Not too bad. Again, I feel like the paint is very nice. I feel like that's what they're really focusing on for this $20 size class, making the figures the right size, but a little simpler in terms of articulation and transformation and making up for it with paint. So it's kind of a decent mix. Like I said, I don't mind this flap because at least it fits very close against the back. It doesn't stick out. There's not really a bunch of kibble here, but it just kind of looks massive. You'll see how that comes into play in the transformation. I guess technically you can plug this in. I don't know if that's meant to do that or not. You can. They all have these pegs on the back. I don't know. But like I said, my really only complaint in the robot mode is I feel like the head is a little too small. I mean, take for example, here's Bumblebee. His head is much bigger and he's shorter. So he's kind of very bulky in the chest, and then the arms are a little lanky, and then the head's a little small. It's not terrible. It's not super jarring. I just feel like I notice it. But he's not bad. All right, let's go ahead and get into that transformation. All right, so the first thing the directions tell you to do is spin the waist. But like I said before, I really feel like you can't, because when you spin the waist, the hips over here definitely smack into that flap. So what I have to do, I like to unclip here. You can see this is where the sides clip in right here. So you just kind of unclip that and you can pull these away. And then I lift this up and then I spin the waist. I just feel like it works a lot better. I really don't know how you would do it otherwise, because it really is right in the way. So I don't know how you would do it otherwise. But so once you spin the waist, you can see this big red plug here, and how that works is you kind of sit it. You can't really just push it together. You have to kind of put it on top and then push it down, and that makes sure that the feet really stay together nice and tight, which is nice. At this point, if you want, you can lift these up. The directions say to do it later, but there's no reason you couldn't do it now. So they unhook, and then with the double joint, they just come up here and peg down. And so they just stay together like that, and that is the whole back of the truck. So at this point, oh, I forgot to mention he does have a bicep swivel. So that's another point of articulation. This guy's arms have got it all. So you spin him at the bicep swivel, and then you use that double elbow joint. And you can see there's kind of a little tab right there. That just kind of fits in this little notch here. And then it just kind of like pegs against the flap on the side. So bring this around. And this one's really tight on mine. I don't know why. So you just kind of have to finagle it, whatever the term is. Because I feel like it doesn't want to get all the way up against the panel because it like doesn't swivel correctly. But you can make it go. Okay, so now that that's kind of done, these are pegged into the side there. Then you're going to want to spin these around loosely like this. Now it's time for that giant flap to come over. And see, you can see my point. They could have made the head larger because look how much space is in there. I mean, it's this tiny head just swimming in this giant space. But how this works, and there's lots of tabs here you have to line up. So this red tab here will peg in to that tab slot right there. Then as you bring that down, there's tabs on the side here which peg into these tab slots on the side of the arms. And I think there's even another tab slot as we push this all together. Oh yes, this tab here goes into these here and here. So you just kind of have to bring this down and line everything up as you go. So push this one in. All right, why aren't you doing it? There we go. That's in, that's in, that's in. And you can just get it all to go. It just takes some lining up. And peg that all in. So when you are done, you have this pretty bulky cab mode. In this section, you have to flip these down and then flip this up to close over top. There we go. So that is your cab mode. And I mean, it works. It's definitely a nice big blocky cab mode. It's super hollow inside. Definitely could have fit a bigger head in there. Anyway, at this point, you bring this up very simply. And then these are going to fold over. And again, you have another tab that's going to tab in right there and there. So you just bring these up. And it'll probably kick some other things out. It does that. Bring this in. Tab that there. Bring this in and tab this in there. So there you go. Once everything is tabbed all together, it holds together fairly well. It's just a matter of getting all the tabs lined up. But here is the truck mode that you are left with. I think it looks pretty good. Nice big square cab, very G1-esque. Nice mix of red and blue coloring with a little bit of silver here. The feet do just kind of sit on the back, but I don't think it's that big a deal. Rolls very nicely. You can flip these down to reveal some guns, which I think is really cool. I like that. Really nice silver paint on the guns as well. And then this is where you take the Energon core and you just plug this in here. And then you push the knob down. And it just goes. Here, let's see if I can get it to go the whole length here. So it really will go a considerable way. Oh, what happened? Oh, I got a smoke screen. Oh, wow, a smokestack just fell off. Okay, well, there you go. You can see that it just pegs right in there, so it should be pretty easy to pop back on. Not really quite sure why that fell off. Maybe just from all the moving things around. This one's a little loose too. They just peg right back in though, so not a big deal. But I think that works. I think the guns on the side are pretty cool. I think it's a fun little feature, and then they just very easily hide away. I like that. I think that's fun. So yeah, I think it's a pretty decent little truck mode. It's kind of shell former-ish, I will admit. And there's a lot of tabs to line up, which can be annoying, so like a little kid might have difficulty with it. But overall, I think it's a pretty decent vehicle mode. I like the hiding guns, and I like the little Energon igniter core gimmick. I think it works well. Yeah, pretty neat. I think Optimus is pretty fun. I really like the color scheme. I think the red and blue really pop well together with the accents of silver, gray, and black. Yes, I will say that the torso is very blocky. They tried their best with this kind of angled torso to make him look slimmer than he is. But between the kind of panels on the side and the big piece here on the back, it definitely makes him look very boxy. I don't think it makes him a terrible toy at all. The transformation is fairly shell-former-ish, but I still think there's fun to be had here. These little flaps here are not the best either, and it really hinders moving the waist around, especially for the transformation. You kind of have to unhook the entire back to get that waist to swivel around. But overall, I think a kid would have fun with this. I think it's a fun little toy. Decent amount of articulation, honestly. I mean, you have kind of the swivel here for the shoulder, the spin for the shoulder, you have the bicep swivel, the 2 points in the elbow. I mean, that's a lot of articulation for one of these figures. I think that's pretty cool. My major complaint, I wish the head was a little bit bigger. I feel like they scaled the head to the chiseled torso they're trying for, instead of the actual block that he is, so it's a little off-putting. I would just make that head a little bit larger. I'm a little bummed that the smokestacks fell off, but it does look like they just pegged right back on, so that's not that big a deal either. My other very minor complaint, I wish these came with weapons. While I do like these things, and I think they're fun, I wish they also came with guns. None of the releases so far, Optimus, Barricade, or Bumblebee, have come with weapons. I would have liked that, because they obviously have, you know, fist holes here to hold weapons for pegs, but they don't come with any, so if you have a weapon maybe from a previous line, you could get something going there, but I think it would have been fairly easy to just include, you know, just a solid gun made out of one color plastic. I'm not looking for much. But oh well, what are you going to do? Otherwise, I think he's pretty decent. Out of the three so far, I think Barricade is still my favorite. And then probably Bumblebee. Prime is probably my least favorite out of the three, but that doesn't mean that he's not good. It doesn't mean that there's not fun to be had. He just happens to be my least favorite. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But I think this guy's worth picking up. I think he's definitely worth the time. I like the vehicle mode quite a bit. I love the way the guns flip out. And I think this gimmick works really well with this vehicle mode. So I think he's fun. I would recommend picking him up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And as always, thank you so much for watching.